Well, hello people, and welcome back to part 12 of Khai, our modded CS2 build. I hope you're having a wonderful day. A couple weeks ago, we added our port, which really helped to balance the production chains. And this week, I would like to return to the town of Triton to develop the space essentially up to the highway interchange. And I would also like to bring in some low-density suburbia as the town begins to fall away as we really begin to wrap up this part of the map. I'd also like to discuss expanding public transport infrastructure, because currently the rush hours in and out of Triton and Sully are getting worse as the city gets bigger, and our current infrastructure for public transport is beginning to choke a little bit, starting to get some queues waiting. This does get busier as well, especially during the mornings and the evenings. So we could do with addressing that today as well. So I think we'll start with a development over here. So bringing this over here, I would like to have a chat about how we can bring in some ferries to this area. So let's clear up some trees. So I would like Triton to be able to accept ferries. So let's have a look at our harbour building, which is a big old chungus. So I think with this, we'll do a little bit of terraforming, but we do need to be careful because the shipping lanes are very close. So we don't want to be terraforming those, otherwise we're going to be having issues with that terraforming. So let's pick out how high do we want to be here. I reckon the same layer as the road is probably a good shout, isn't it? So we'll have the road come out of the interchange straight into the harbour and make this part of our waterfront. And I think we'll get lots of motels, a little bit of tourism around here, and some larger service buildings to serve as a bit of a municipal service centre for the area, because there's a lot of people also dying over here too, and they don't have death care. And so with our harbour, let's just go ahead and place this. I think that should do us. Not too big a building as it does have a few upgrades. The transit terminal, which we do not have unlocked because we don't have a taxi depot place, but we will do that today. And then there is also the extra harbour, but I don't think we'll need that. So let's get this hooked in to the road network. We'll just snap to the sides of the building. Now I don't want it to wrap totally around, and I reckon we'll probably feed this into a one-way loop as well. So let's come to the edge of the building here, and then we'll come up to this final parking lot entrance, and then let's feed this down to save 8 tiles in between, and then we'll have that there. This can also come down the same distance, and then let's connect these together, and then let's grab a 4-lane divided road. So where do we want to come out here? I reckon just off of a 90-degree angle here should be pretty sensible, I think. Yeah, I'll be happy with that. And let's put some grass and trees down the middle. And then I think we'll grass line the interior of this plaza. And we'll do something with this a little bit later in the episode. Maybe even bring the trams down here, actually. So we can have a big convergence. And at some point, whenever we introduce Metro, which we might do today, because we do need to place the Metro yard over here. But we might not have the budget for that after placing the harbour. We'll have to see. But a big transport centre around here either way. So let's tidy up the terraforming here. I would also like to have a road run alongside the building so we can key it off. Let's also remember to change directions as well. Fantastic. And then let's give a bit of a barrier toward our harbour up here. And we won't do it over here. Might even introduce a tiny marina. I guess we'll see. But first of all, let's get the boats arriving. So we'll grab our medium seaway. What's the best way to jump in here? I reckon just a simple connection there. Probably should do it. And then we'll grab our passenger ship tool. One from here, and we can send this off to Holloway, which we had some name suggestions. And because of Candy's wonderful idea for the pillar key thing we did a couple of episodes ago, or last episode, we are going to name this after Candy City of Philadelphia. So we now have ships going to Orchid Bay and Philadelphia, which is great, isn't it? Absolutely fantastic. So with this, let's go ahead and terraform this out a little bit and get all this terrain work tidied up. Super. That's going to help to frame our harbour there. Let's see if we get any folk arriving off of the boat. Well, there was 0 people on it. So probably not. Hopefully some ships will come in the future to drop some people off, which will be good. Whilst we are talking about taxis, let's have a look at... I thought we did place the taxi depot, did we not? Maybe we didn't. I guess in that case then, I wouldn't mind it being part of the harbour complex, I suppose. I don't think I'll hate that. And then that will allow us to drop in the upgrade that will allow taxis and bus traffic directly into the harbour. Is this an expensive one? Only 20,000 a month. That shouldn't eat too much in. Of course, we'll get some more taxpayers in today as well. So that'd be great. We now have that outside connection sorted. Taxis will disperse across the city. Although, yeah, they're all coming into here, aren't they? Okay, that's fine. So with that sorted, let's now have a look at our tram network. So currently it's coming down here, which is okay. Now I think we'll grab this tram only road. Now let's feed this off from where it currently runs. And I think we'll feed it down here onto there. Now with this tram road, currently we have it aligned so it's this side of the road. I think I'd like it the other way. So let's just reposition how we're going to sit here. Let's go for pretty much that. How do we feel about this junction? That should be okay. I think I'll be happy with that. We no longer need this, so that can be trimmed away. And then let's upgrade this segment of road down toward the harbour. Down to about there should be good, and then we can just grab the tram only road itself. And then where do we want to send this off? So ideally like it to stop here, so I think just crossing the road here isn't going to cause any great issues for anyone using it. And then we really just want the angle snap and road length here. And then you just peel off. It's also hit existing geometry. You can stop there. Some nice green belt opportunities here too. Let's feed this out, and then we'll create a one-way loop. And that's wonderful. That will allow the tram to turn around here. Let's go ahead and get that flowing with some tram stops. Where is the? Can we see the entrance to the harbour? It's right here, isn't it? So let's create that pedestrian crossing there. We'll have our tram stop there. Go ahead and grab a pedestrian pathway. Fantastic. And then we'll place the rest of the stops in a second. Before we do that, I would like to discuss... Okay, we've got a lot of death over here, haven't we? Let's, it's fine. We'll address the death care in a second. Let's first of all look at the trams. So we could extend the same line, but I am a little bit wary of it getting just too long. So I think we might use this same loop and then just add in a new road here that splits away. Comes down here, comes into Sully, serves all of this arterial, and then possibly turns around at the college, which I think could be quite cool if we use the pedestrian road for that. I guess we'll see. But let's time-lapse up a tram expansion here, and we'll see how it works out, because we're only using 2 trams at the moment. So I reckon we'll set up a separate line to serve Sully. Super. So now we have the Triton Sully to College Town tram line, which is a little pastel green number. Both of them will converge at this tram interchange, which is wonderful. The buses do seem to be clearing their backlog, but let's just have a look at the line. It's not crazy busy anymore, so... Although I think I will just stick maybe 2 more vehicles on. And then with this, I think I'm also going to reduce the price down too, just to try and encourage a few more people to use it. Got a little warning here. I'd say there's no vehicles. Okay, possibly time for the tram depot upgrade then if the game wants to assign more vehicles to that. That should fix that problem. And then we'll slowly watch this kick in. So let's just review where that line has gone. It's coming down onto Triton Waterfront, where it again converges with the buses on the big pedestrian waterfront we've got here, which I'm a big fan of. It then comes down into some upgraded roads through Sully's Waterfront, where it stops again over here, nearby to the buses. So there's lots of bus and tram convergence all through the town now. This stops here again too, and then it's going to loop around onto the pedestrian waterfront here, where we can already see some people waiting for that tram. So that should be very busy. People then can then change to get onto the ferry terminal if they want. And eventually one day, we will have the metro also supporting that, which I think is going to follow the couplet system as a bit more of a faster express with much fewer stops than the trams and buses have. Probably stopping again at Sully, then at the college town, and then probably at the port. So the metro will cover much longer distances between stops, is the plan. But we'll see how that works out regardless. So we'll come back here later on in the episode. I think it's going to take a while for these trams to stagger out, or they'll all just despawn. So whatever. Who cares, right? Maybe it'll just all just despawn. But eventually they will stagger out onto that line, and we'll have some nice flowing trams. So lots of detail to do around here in the time-lapse, of course. Let's now return to our developments over here. So in terms of the skyline on Triton Waterfront, we are, I think, just about to hit the limit of the peak. So I want a few more high rises, and then I reckon everything past this road here will start to fall away, and then the town will essentially finish here, and we'll come back into countryside. So with this, I wouldn't mind having a few apartments in. Let's go into FindIt. We will filter for European, and then let's go for, I think, high density. I wouldn't mind some slightly taller towers here. Now, I know there are some kind of green cities looking buildings. I think it's this one, isn't it? Yeah. I wouldn't mind a little development of these around the fire station. So let's place 1 and 3, I think. And then I think we'll get some nice car parking spaces in here. I'll probably use walkable parking, I think. Let's have this one here. And then I'd like to feed some pathways through essentially what is a little apartment development sort of complex. Just so everyone can move around. Got some nice trees in here too. We don't want the crosswalk on those roads though. And then let's grab some trees to fill this space. Turn off our snap to surface. I feel like I need to use more of the palms too. I feel like I always neglect them. Khai is supposed to be tropical, but I'm such a fan of the live oaks, you know. Cool. So Recolour should work quite nicely with this actually. If we just change this master colour here, I reckon we can add a nice bit of variation into these little highlights that sit on these buildings. I want to keep it fairly pastel colours. I don't want anything kind of too bright and bold. But that'll give us a nice little peak there. Also satisfy some high density residential demand as well. Now there's another taller one here that's of a similar sort of aesthetic here, so I wouldn't mind making it all part of the same development if we can possibly have a look at that now. Is 3 of them together too much? I think it probably is, isn't it? So let's maybe trim the middle one out. And then why don't we create a bit of a kind of alternated pattern with these ones? Again, I want to keep lots of walkability in between these towers because although this is a little bit of a mid-town, it's definitely not my kind of main city centre. So we don't want things to be getting too big. So we can just link this into all the public transport around. We'll also get that other tram flowing as well up to the ferry stop in a minute. And then we can pack this with more trees. And then I think we'll do the same thing here again as well. Let's just move this master slider just rework those colour highlights that are present on what are very nice buildings actually. They really remind me of green cities, don't they, for those that played CS2. They're very kind of green cities-esque, aren't they? I do like them. But I think that'll be the extent of our height, and then from here now I want to begin to fall away. So with this stretch here, we're also going to pack in some schools as well, because we are, of course, on an endless quest to satisfy education demand in CS2. So we are now playing with some of these kind of expanded mini service schools, which are really cool. You can get them on Paradox, so you don't always have to place this massive elementary or the smaller one. We do have a little bit of variation. And I think we'll also bring the Polaris Suites building in here as well as a bit of a high-rise. And this one, unfortunately, isn't available on Recolour for some very odd reason, but I think I can live with Cream Beast, I guess if we can call it, right? This is very extendable out here, isn't it? I would also like to have the same philosophies apply, though. I want lots of pathways knocking about between these buildings, so people can walk around them. Let's also snap to the side of a building here. Put that straight through the middle, and then down to the tram line. Also extended those trams as well. They are now flowing through here. You see they're getting plenty of use, which is great. People dispersing around. And then they're also heading down toward the ferry terminal here as well. Speaking of walkability, we did say as part of this beach, and it does actually have a name if we were to check it out over here. So we have the Sepang Trail. It's something we started on a live stream. So from this little detailed car park over here, there will be a pathway that essentially runs the entire perimeter of the island. Now, previously we brought this up to here, but I brought it back to the road. Now, in hindsight, I think I'd actually rather it continue to hug the beach. Let's take away a couple of trees here, essentially following that sand line, right? So let's just meander this along the water here. Hook it back into the road here, and then here. So the sand textures actually kick up over the pathway, which I'm actually really happy with, because you totally expect that as wind kicks the sand up onto the pathway. As people walk on it, they obviously kick the sand around. So that was kind of a happy accident, but I think we'll leave it in. So everywhere there's a main junction, I think it's going to make sense to bring this down. And then as it reaches our park, it will then continue off of the marinas. Let's trim back some trees here that we're not particularly precious of. And then this can just meander all the way down. And then I think we'll develop another marina nearby to the ferry port. We can connect there. And then we also have the stop down here as well, if I can spot it. Where is it? There it is. Tram stops here. So let's have, I guess we could create a little pedestrian crossing there, couldn't we? I think that would make sense right by the tram stop. So now the Sepang Trail runs all the way to the ferry harbour, and once another town exists, we'll also wrap it around this hillside as well. Send it over to the next town, so you can really walk all the way around. Since it's a bit of like a tourist trail, you know, people come to go Khai to walk the Sepang Trail, I guess is a cool way to run with it. No one getting off the tram here, but there's nothing here for them in a minute. I'm going to have commercial along here, I think. So let's see what we can do to accommodate some more grid structure around here. So as we approach this corner, I think we'll have a little bit of European mixed use here. We've also got the mixed use row zonings now as well, which is a mod from Paradox Mods, which we may explore. Well, essentially all this front here can become mixed use. We'll let that grow up. We'll save some room behind for some detailing, and I think as we approach the ferry terminal, bearing in mind our gradual descent, will then fall into just regular commercial zoning. So we have a bit of a commercial strip coming down the road here. I think I'll be happy with that. And with our schools, we are a little bit short on money at the minute. We're actually losing money, placing too many services probably. Let's see if we can bump up our residential tax a little bit, maybe. Can we go to 12? Do have a lot of demand. Yeah, that pushes us slightly back into the green, doesn't it? Yeah, there we go. That really helps, actually. So 12% tax will bring some people in, and we can watch this grow up. Now, our most pressing education is the elementary. So again, as we begin to fall away, why don't we have a little bit of an elementary school here? We will have to remember to bring in some death care at some point. I'm not sure what form we want to go for. I would like to use the cemetery at some point. Maybe actually on the edge of town here we could have a cemetery, kind of a bit out in the sticks as this turns into highway road to go around the coast. Maybe we can have a look at that. But, let's get the school in first. So we'll have 1, 2, and then we'll have another one in here. That should be okay. That should bump us up slightly more toward the green there. We can have that there. I think what in terms of what we're going to do with the highway, I'm really happy with the way we have it kind of green belted at the minute, so I think we'll repeat that design on the other side. I do have plans for a lot of kind of low density outer lying suburbia here. So let's have a look at that so we can plan in that green belt. So we are using a super node here, which does get pretty busy, but I think I'm happy with it. So this is, what is that back to the road? That's 58 meters. So let's grab it from here as well, and we'll do, let's do 56. That should work. And then we'll grab one of our regular roads here. And then let's line up in the middle of this road. And then we'll peel that off in a number of directions. That can go over there. What's our topography like here? Where does that mountain begin? That's really the take-home point here, isn't it? We obviously won't be building on this, but I would be happy to have some slightly raised hillside homes, say at this gradient, that look out across a bit of a mid-rise town there toward the waterfront. And then as you will look at it along and this line here, it will really fall away. So I reckon we'll get a lot of this in during our detail and time lapse, but we can at least plan in the green belt right now. Let's not use the tram road though. Let's bring in normal road. Also put our cell length zoning back on here as well, so we can get consistent grids. And this can go pretty much all the way along here in a straight line. I mean, is that going to meet up perfectly with that junction there? It pretty much is, isn't it? Cool, that's great. And then off of this, we can form a lot of low density suburbia, which will probably use our alleyway roads to form up that zoning space. I don't really want the big, well, they're not big, are they? Just the smaller suburban roads. So we get that in there, and then we can form this green belt around the highway. So once this area of town is complete, we'll have this high-speed couplet system surrounded by all these towers and sheltered by the trees to help, I guess, reduce a little bit of the noise pollution. We also need to worry about the wind turbines, but I think we'll make that part of our metro episode. Just we'll relocate them into a proper installation on the hill somewhere, because this just isn't an appropriate location for them anymore. But we'll see what we think. How are we doing here? Let's save any nice corner buildings that we're a fan of. Yeah, these are all going to work perfectly for the corners, and I'm pretty happy with the middle ones as well, to be honest, so we'll lock them while we're happy with them. Oh, look at this as well, isn't this great? People actually walking the Sepang Trail, which is very cool. Big fan of that. How are we feeling about all this commercial here? Yeah, I don't hate that. I'm pretty happy with that gradient there up to the town centre, I think. That'd be a really nice approach up there, isn't it? Big fan of that. So, with our ideas in place, I think it feels like a good place for a detailing time-lapse. We're going to detail up our cargo harbour here, and I think I might install another classic CS2 marina, like so, with the little docks here that we can do with the pathways. I think it makes sense to have a bit of a maritime centre here. Continue up the zoning and then detail up the backs of these where it's appropriate, extend all these textures, work in a bit of prop work if we want to, and carry on our palettes that we have through here with the kind of sandy grass bordering the tram line, and install a few more apartment complexes like we have here too. But either way, let's detail up our massive transit and residential expansion, and then we'll be right back. guys, let's have a little look around what's happened in the town of Triton, although we will start the detailing review down by the college town, which we can see the tram getting a nice bit of use now. Off it goes, and people can disperse around the college grounds, which looks absolutely wonderful. And then further down the field, the trams have really helped to take some of the traffic off the road, also helping to support the buses as well, stopping down Main Street here. See how busy this waterfront's become now, with so many more people choosing to catch the tram, which is great. Saves them driving, doesn't it? So really nice to see public transport convergence starting to kick in. People waiting down here where we have the BRT system too. Absolutely wonderful. And then we have our little transit hub here, which is definitely flowing a little bit better now. We have all these vehicles converging, and very satisfying to see a little bit of CS2 walking excitement, isn't it? All this. Watch a purple tram arrive, hopefully it's not too far away. And here we go, let's see if it can clear the log in one go. Very nearly, it looks like there's only a little group left there. But nice to have this little kind of transfer hub really between Triton and Sully, isn't it? Multiple different ways to get public transport across the town. Now the town of Triton is complete. I'm really happy with this public transport corridor we've got running through the middle of the town. It's a real kind of key distinctive feature of Triton, isn't it? And one day we will have these metros running. We don't quite have the budget to be doing them yet, but it will come into action in the next few episodes, I imagine. And then around here, we've added some sound barriers to the highway. I just felt it was a little bit more appropriate for sound barriers by the residential flats over here. And we are finally seeing people use the interchange after so many episodes. This thing was super quiet, but now people are finally starting to pick it up. We've also brought these slip ramps up and over the hill where it can connect in something. I reckon I'll probably take this up to the metro yard. And then we've also got some slip lanes here that drop people off on a country road. That now leaves Triton as a new town will develop in a future episode around the coastline there. Maybe kind of get some rural coastal spots down here. A couple of little cabins, or just kind of water viewpoints. I think might be a nice idea to use the waterfront. Over toward the harbour, we've done some more terraforming against the shoreline just to cut in some key work where I wanted it. And also isolated some little islands out in the water there just to make it a slightly more interesting shape of water. And then we have a fair few people using the tram here to get back. We detailed at the tram stop with some classic public transport work, benches, bins, fountains and kiosks. With lots of trees outside of the harbour, which is great now. People waiting for taxis, catching ferries back to Philadelphia, which is awesome. So a really nice harbourfront. Extended this with a breakwater down here to protect the smaller marina from what I am sure are relatively large waves coming in from these ferries. So it's keyed on one side and then it's sloped with rocks and overgrowth on the other, with a little roundabout at the end, which actually provides a really nice viewpoint across the rest of Triton, doesn't it? It's a really nice little spot here to enjoy a bit of sailing. And then we also dropped in a touch of industry to act, I guess, as a little bit of a boathouse or a boat maintenance yard, whatever you want to justify it with. And then looking down the main street here, I really like how the town kind of really devolves back into just greenbelt, and then as you head down this way, it just turns back into country. So lots of green space around here, lots of walkable path networks connecting people to the ferry terminal. The school is here with some more apartments and tennis courts. And then we have some commercial here with some custom car parking and lots of walkability behind the shops if they want to use it. With plenty of commercial dotted around here now as well. And the view down the main street is a really nice kind of gradual crawling height, and what a wonderful addition that tram road is, isn't it? Really love the road builder mod, just on-demand networks for whatever configuration you need is absolutely wonderful. Really cool. More marina work over this way, and then we have a heavily forested shoreline here. As I mentioned before, I don't just want beach everywhere, so we'll do some kind of thick, overgrown shoreline at some points as well. And we've also extended these services behind the mixed use, with some gentle prop work around kind of delivery entrances. A little bit of green space in here as well, barrels, crates and whatnot, everything you'd expect to find behind a little kind of commercial alleyway like this. And of course, it all helps blend it in together nicely, doesn't it? I see the tram go there too, how exciting. Really nice. So watch that go down there. Let's check out this stop down here as well. This one's not too bad. We've also added in a couple more pedestrian crossings down this road as well, should people want to get either onto the Sepang Trail or of course back into town, with some wonderful corner assets really dominating these corners, which look great, don't they? I really like the European mixed use stuff. It looks great. It also added the upgrade onto the clinic, which just happened to sit and fit alongside some Recolour on some smaller mixed use alongside one of those schools we looked at in the episode. So this is a mini elementary school, which is very handy for just cramming in education demand into a very small space. And it's a very nice corner asset, isn't it? It sits really nice there on the corner next to these apartments. And then around our recoloured Green Cities X developments, we had those car parks with pathways moving around the apartment complex. And likewise over here as well, people catching the tram straight back up to those apartments. So people that live here have really excellent public transport connections, which is super cool. This is still busy, but honestly, I don't mind it, you know. I like seeing a queue of traffic waiting at the lights to come into the town. Why some people do carry straight on up toward the interchange if they want to get a bit closer to the harbour. And then I think incoming episodes we will develop some hillside mansions. I think there's definitely going to be some really nice houses sat up here looking out over the town. You can do some maybe custom pool detailing on them and lots of fun with that. I imagine it'd be quite a luxurious place to live, this with views of the city and the ocean and whatnot. And then we'll also redevelop our wind farm into kind of a proper actual wind farm installation atop the hill with some industrial detail around it. And we've also begun to upgrade this little switchback road that heads up the mountain into highway. Where it does connect in with a kind of a mountaintop road that really spans across the island. It hooks in back down here as well. It also connects in much further afield with the forestry road that we've got over here as well. So slowly but surely, Khai will all start interconnecting with one another. And really nice to finally see some people using this interchange. It's mainly taxis, but we are getting the occasional pedestrian car coming down here. So this will help support much more traffic as things go up around this area, especially as this residential comes into play. This will be a real key avenue for people to get back into Triton and then back onto the highway as well when they can eventually go down here. And we'll also get that metro stuck in as well. Again, like I said, we don't quite have the budget for it yet. But we will install the metro yard over here, I think. Probably partner with a little bit of industry. I reckon we'll make that part of the wind turbine build as well. Kind of a bit of a rural industrial detailing depot and maintenance yard episode. Sounds like it could be a lot of fun. But otherwise, we'll leave it there. I'd like to thank you all so much for watching. A massive shout out to all the patrons that support the channel, with a special roll call to Andrew Perez and Oixino. If you would like to get a little bit more egg in your diet, links down to Patreon and Instant Gaming are down below. Really enjoyed finishing off the kind of Triton town centre today. A nice crawl in height as we arrive to this really mid-rise waterfront with lots of different things happening on the water. We got beaches, parks, overgrown, dense kind of shorelines. We've got breakwaters, a ferry harbour here now, little custom marinas and lots of fun. Unfortunately, one of the stupid chimneys has come back onto the boathouse, but I'll delete that after the fact. And lots of busy public transport now beginning to develop in Khai, and dying to get this metro installed. So we'll definitely have that running, and I really like the way we have that huge transport corridor passing through Triton. I think it's a real kind of unique feature for the town. But either way, thank you so much for all the support on the channel. Glad you guys are continuing to enjoy the videos as we hit 102,000 subscribers, which is mental. Thank you for the support, and welcome to the new people. Otherwise, don't forget to check out some more videos on the channel, but I will shut up and leave it there. Let's thank you all again so much for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.